All right, let's do this then. So this week on to talk about Manchester United, Liverpool, and Chelsea is fan favourite Mathew, who is currently in a sling after he dislocated his shoulder playing golf yesterday. And one of the most ridiculous things you'll ever see on a golf course. You'll never see that again in your life. It was mental. And then we've got our German correspondent back, Mr. Liam Anderson, who is going to talk to us a little about Chelsea and Tuchel because that's a team he supports, but he has privately admitted he doesn't watch a lot of other Prem games. So he's going to chip in where he can. And then we've got the debut of James Peter Blundell, who recently has turned into some sort of Insta pundit, we would say, social media pundit recently. He's Man United are doing well again, so he's posting on social media, and he's wearing an England top for anyone that listens to this, just on audio. So shambles that Jambo, but it's good to have you on. Liam's got a Scotland one on.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, mate.
No worries, boys. Been a while. We did a bit of catching up before we hit record here, just chatting pish. So it's good to get talking. We'll definitely need to do this every now and again, see how the teams are doing and all that. So I wanted to, before we actually talked about United and Chelsea and Liverpool, I've got two things actually to say. First of all, I've been messaging him a little bit. Jason Grant, I still remember our 20 quid bet that we have that Leeds will finish higher than Arsenal. It's going to be fucking tight, that actually. It's quite a good bet. So Jason, don't worry, I'll tag you in this wee clip. So I remember about our 20 quid bet. And then the other thing was, which maybe our German correspondent can have his say on first, is Xabi Alonso's taking over at Borussia Mönchengladbach next season, Liam. What do you think of that?
Very interesting. Kind of nowhere as well. I remember seeing on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, that he's taken over, and I was like, all right, fair enough. Because I don't even think he's been doing. Has he done any coaching prior?
I don't know.
I think he's done a little. I actually don't know. I think he has done a little. I think he has been doing something somewhere.
Right. I was surprised by it, but it's an interesting one. You see so many ex-pros now that are obviously kind of coaching, obviously with Gerrard and Lampard and Pirlo, etc. So an interesting one, right? It's just I'd be interested to see what Mönchengladbach fans think of it, because he doesn't have a proven track record. Obviously, he's a very good player, but obviously he's a Spanish. It's a Spanish person going into a German league as well. So will they try and put like a Spanish kind of tiki-taka twist on possession football, or will they adapt to German football where it's very much high press and high intensity? So it'll be interesting. I hope it works out though.
Does he speak German? Do you know?
What's that?
Does he speak the language?
Yeah, he does.
Well, he played with Bayern, didn't he?
He speaks like 5 languaes.
Yeah,
the type of person that would speak about 5 languages.
Yeah, he had an absolute class football brain in the middle of the park. He's
just overall a very cool guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is a cool guy. It's sorry, I googled that there while we were talking. He has managed Real Madrid's U14s, and then till 2019, and then from 2019 to now, he's been coaching Real Sociedad's B team. So
okay. So at least he's got some. He's got some experience with senior players, right? Obviously coaching the B team. I'm guessing he's done well there too. So, and obviously he played with Bayern, so he's got some experience in German football, right? So
Imagine being 13 years old, you're playing for Real Madrid youth team, and Xabi Alonso would go.
It's insane, isn't it?
That's ridiculous.
Please remember me.
I wonder if he gets a bunch of parent complaints while he's fucking coaching those boys. I wonder if anyone says anything bad to him. That would be interesting.
He's not enthusiastic enough.
Nah, he doesn't do enough. Coaches with his hands in his pockets. Yeah, not loud enough. It'll be interesting. But I like Alonso. He's has a great footy brain for sure, and that'll be interesting to see how he does. Quite cool he's taken over. I feel like the German leagues for coaches, I feel like that's the place to watch right now. I don't know why. I just feel like it's the place to watch for coaches. Like
Liam said though, with the German league, so many goals, right? So you've got to really adapt to what's going on. So I bet it's a great learning curve to get thrown into that league and deal with it type thing.
Definitely. There's where obviously Tuchel came. That's where Klopp came from. You've got Nagelsmann, the Leipzig manager as well, who's obviously coming up, and he's getting linked with the Arsenal job before Arteta take it and stuff. So definitely the hotbed, I think, for young German managers.
I agree. The German league is the place to the place to keep an eye on for managers. We'll start on Chelsea then. Tuchel's obviously only been in charge for 10 games, but I've got my own thoughts on it. Liam, obviously you came on a few weeks ago and we chatted about it with Lampard going, and was it the right move? And I feel like we kind of came to an agreement that it was probably the right move. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But what's your thoughts been so far on Tuchel? We'll let you speak first.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to the last podcast where we spoke about it, I said obviously he's got a very good brand of football and good tactician, but the man management side I wasn't too sure about. But I mean, so far it's been excellent. I mean, I said like towards the end of the Lampard's time, sadly, like Chelsea just weren't. Well, I mean, personally, I didn't really enjoy watching Chelsea all that much. It was hard to see, like their brand of football, the style of play, what they're trying to do. A lot of players were dropped, and also got a big squad, right? But since Tuchel's come in, he's been firing. I mean, he only had like a day to work with the players when they the first game against Wolves, and we looked really solid, really compact. We looked like we had already like an identity of how to play with the five at the back, and yeah, apart from then, from then he's been excellent. It's been really good. I mean, over the 2 legs against Atletico, I mean, Atletico definitely went at their best, but I'd argue that's because we were so good over the 2 legs. I mean, also they're sitting first in the league, so they're doing something right. They're doing well. They've got Suarez and what do you call him? Oh, what's the young boy's name again? Up front for Atletico.
João Felix.
João Felix, sorry, yeah. We've got them two up front, and they didn't really get a sniff. You know what I mean? And yeah, we've been excellent. I mean, we're not conceding much, but we're not scoring an awful lot. But at the same time, if you don't concede goals, you don't lose games. So you'd much rather that, right? And you get something to build on. Also got a massive squad, but it seems to be the biggest thing, which I like, is when you're a big team like Chelsea, you get such a big squad. You're competing in the Premier League, you're competing in the Champions League, and the cups. He seems to be rotating the squad very well, which I think is something that Lampard didn't do so well. He's maybe just dropping players for maybe 2, 3, 4 games, whereas Tuchel's maybe dropping a player for a game or two and then bring them back in. Like maybe get Chilwell and Alonso left wing back. It looked like he was going to be playing Alonso a lot more, but then Chilwell still in the frame, and like Pulisic maybe he's not playing as much, but then he came in at the weekend against Sheffield United, or yesterday, sorry. In the FA Cup, and was excellent too. You know what I mean? And he just needs to be using the squad very well. And in terms of the identity of what we're playing, yes, we're playing 5 at the back, but still, I watched his interview with Rio Ferdinand yesterday, and like he's not saying like, oh, I'm going to play this way and that's it. Like he's willing to adapt as well, and sometimes play a 4 at the back. And we're just really good to watch. It's a good time to be a Chelsea fan again. And as sad as it was to see Lampard go, and obviously every Chelsea fan was dying for it to work, absolutely dying for it to work. But so far, so good. It's been excellent. So
similar to United.
Yeah.
James and Mathew, your guys' thoughts? Whoever wants to go next on Chelsea.
I'll quickly go because I don't have too much to say. But wait, real quickly, did you watch the Sheffield United game? Did you watch all of it?
I didn't, unfortunately. No, I didn't get to watch it.
I might need to give it a watch. I want to see how Gilmore played in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to see him start. That was another one. Obviously, when Tuchel came in, everyone was saying, "Oh, get Billy out on loan, get him out on loan so he gets in the Scotland squad for the Euros and stuff." And I was kind of thinking more towards that as well. But I mean, Tuchel's come out publicly and said how much he loves Billy Gilmore, and said even though he's not playing every week, he should still be in that Scotland setup. He's so good. But I mean, he's going to learn his trade. He's still going to get times to play. I mean, he played in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. You know what I mean? And he'll still be playing under 23s, which I mean, obviously, it's not exactly like the best quality, but still decent quality. So
I think
we'll see.
Yeah. Sorry, Liam. Sorry, mate. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, I think with the whole Billy Gilmore situation, like when I've watched him playing, sometimes I'm like, is he like a holding midfielder? Is he like a 8 or 10 or whatever? I'm like, sometimes I think like he's maybe a little too lightweight to play as like a holding midfielder right now. And then I'm like, as an 8 or 10, I'm not too sure, but I think it really suits him when you play that formation and you play just like, let's just say it's Kovacic and him just as like 2 set midfielders, and they have freedom. One can drop and come get it from the centre halves. One can maybe run into the box. He has freedom in there. I just think it really suits him when we play with a 2 like that. In our Scotland formation, we do the same. that's how we play. We play with two in there. I think it's not normally like McGinn and Fleck or something like that that play there. So it'll be interesting to see how Gilmore kind of fits into that. I hope he does well. But just on Tuchel, I think that see when Chelsea are playing, I'm like excited to go and watch them because I watch it and I'm like, what the fuck are they playing? I'm like, this is mad. I'm like, I've never seen anything like it before. Like typically when you play like a back five or a back three, whatever you want to call it, like, you know, like even when you watch City, right, they kind of in possession they play a back three. Like Kyle Walker comes and plays next to, it's normally Stones and Diaz, and it's kind of like a flat back three. And Cancelo pinches in midfield and plays with Rodri, two holding midfielders. But when I watch Chelsea, I'm like, they're playing a back three, but it's like you've got a centre back, and then like a centre back total stretches one way, the other centre back stretches the other way, and then you've got your two sitting midfielders, and it's just something like, to be honest with you, I don't think I've seen that much. I never watched Tuchel at the other clubs he was at. I don't know if he done that, but just when I watch him, I'm like mesmerised by this like back three, but it's like a centre. It's like a centre back, and then like it's just so like expansive and open as a back three. It's not like a flat back three, anything like that. And it's amazing though because they don't concede. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, mate, they're fucking going for it here, but they're not conceding. So I think it's interesting.
In 10 games, they've scored 11, conceded 2 since you've been in charge. I mean, pretty good record.
You're not conceding goals, like Liam said. I love when your team is not conceding goals. When Liverpool had that phase where like we were keeping clean sheets all the time, it's like it's what you need to do. Like I'm concerned for Chelsea next year for the title. I reckon they're gonna go for it. Like,
hey man, attack wins you games, defense wins you titles. Jambo, what about you? Anything different to add, or much in the same?
Probably not that much different, but I would say like when Lampard left, I was pretty shocked, to be honest. But it's always nice to like, you know, when you see a club legend go into any team, it doesn't matter who you support. Like I still felt like Lampard's at Chelsea, like that'd be so like amazing for him to, you know, progress and be good. But if you look at who Chelsea bought in the transfer windows, they bought really, really well, right? And if you compare the two managers together, which one has got the best out of those signings? And I think it's very, very clear, you know, which one's done the best. And Liam mentioned that Wolves game. Liam mentioned the Wolves game a minute ago, and like the difference. I mean, how many training sessions did he have?
I'm pretty sure he said like you had to like choose a team on like the plane to the game or something like that. Or, like, how to play
I'm pretty sure I saw a complete change straight away, and like almost every player, and like every player they bought has just excelled since he's been there. So I think obviously it's the right decision, clearly. But again, it's sad to see him go because he is a club legend.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh, real quick on Jambo's point there. I think like for me it was like, right, Tuchel's come in, and I think when a manager comes in, everyone has that extra lift. Like I think typically everyone does. For me, it was more so if they can sustain that and it doesn't fizzle out after 3 or 4 games. You know what I mean? But it's the fact that he's come in, everyone's had a lift, and he's kept that, which to me proves that that's what fucking good managers do. So I just want to add that to me anyway.
I agree with everything you guys have all said. I think that that's the biggest thing. Like you said it, Jambo, just the difference and how quickly the difference came. I just how sharp they are on the ball, Liam, and in terms of like their 1 and 2 touch, and technically like just when they receive a ball and how tight it's keeping to them. And I'm like, what the fuck has he been doing? Because he's only been there for like 10 games. It's in the league. It's not including Europe, so it's maybe a couple more. But I mean, what's he doing in training to get? I agree, Mathew. You see managers take over and there's a lift, but immediately I thought it was way more than that. I was like, oh wow, it's almost like this group of players has been waiting just for that like level of coaching, if that makes sense. And I don't think that, I mean, well, not even that he don't think, clearly he doesn't and didn't have the experience or be at the level that Tuchel is at to be able to get his team to perform like that. Now, obviously the question is, are they going to be able to maintain it until the end of the season and then moving into next season? I genuinely think he will. And I agree with Mathew. I think Chelsea are someone to keep your eye on for challenging for the league title next season, because he's, and we'll get into this as we move on into the Man United and Liverpool kind of chat. But he's a good coach, He's a good coach. Like, he's done a good job at Mainz. He's done a good job at Dortmund. He got PSG. I know he didn't win the Champions League final, but he got them to the Champions League final, their first one in a long, long time. And yeah, he's one to watch out for massively.
Definitely, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting when it gets to the summer, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, the players he's working with aren't his players. So is he going to want to bring in some of his own players? Is he going to offload some of the players that he's not playing as much? Or because I mean, at the end of the day, Chelsea do have a big squad, and a lot of the players there are newer signings. So that'll be the interesting one to watch as well. Is obviously Chelsea spent so much money last summer, are they going to do the same again? Or it would be interesting to kind of see what happens with that. But yeah, long may it continue for how it's going right now.
That's what I was going to ask you next, Liam, and then get everyone's thoughts. Like, kind of go through a couple of individual players that, like we've talked about in text and all that before, and then obviously a couple of things have changed since Tuchel. So we'll start with Chilwell. I mean, I thought he performed really well under Lampard. I didn't. Again, I don't watch every single minute of every Chelsea game, but I've watched a lot of games because every game's on TV, and I watch Match of the Day and all that. So I've seen a lot. I didn't see a lot wrong with him personally, but for whatever reason, he's consistently pretty much picking Alonso right now, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, when Chilwell first came in, I was buzzing, because I mean, Lampard played a 4 at the back, and I mean, Alonso just didn't do it for me. He was amazing under Conte and played the 5 at the back, but like playing as an actual left back in the 4, he was chopping and changing between Emerson. Not a fan of Emerson either. But then when he came in, I was buzzing. So I guess in the last podcast, it was really good in terms of we've had English left backs. We've Wayne Bridge, we've had Ashley Cole. We're both amazing. Chilwell seems like that next one, and I still think he will be. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting now that I think when Lampard was there, definitely you're right. Chilwell was excellent, but since Tuchel's come in, obviously he's favoured Alonso a bit more, and I can see why. As much as I prefer Chilwell, Alonso's definitely better as a left wing back. He's not getting much defensive responsibility, and going forward, in terms of in the box, for as a goal scorer for a left wing back, he's excellent in the box. You know what I mean? He's got a good few goals.
Sorry to kind of cut you short there, Liam, but do you think that's so, like, in your opinion, watching the games all the time, that's the reason why he's choosing Alonso over Chilwell, because in the final third, in that role, do you feel like Alonso gives a bit more?
I think so, but I'm pretty sure, I think it was yourself that said that Tuchel came out and said that Alonso's more aggressive defensively than Chilwell. Was that right?
It was me that said that. I see the interview.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I found quite interesting, because I'm not a massive fan of Alonso defensively. Chilwell's a bit more solid defensively, but yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, we've got Emerson as well, who came on against. Oh, who did he come on against?
Atletico and scored the goal.
Yeah, come on against Atletico and scored a really good goal as well. So
when he scored, I was like,
him off either.
When he scored, I was like, totally forgot he was there. And B, what the fuck is he doing on the pitch up there and scoring a goal? I was like, what's going on?
I know. I'm pretty sure he had Emerson. I was getting ready towards the end of the game. I'm pretty sure he had Emerson and Chilwell on at the same time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he did.
So,
he did. What?
Interesting, but
Mathew and Jambo, anything that you guys, anything on Chilwell in particular that, or Alonso, whoever the two are?
Chill.
I think on paper, like if you look at the two names, you would say Chilwell, right? In my opinion.
Yeah.
But in terms of he's playing him for a reason, right? He's playing Alonso for a reason, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, whether or not you think Chilwell's a better player or not, maybe Alonso just fits his system a lot better.
I mean, sorry, Jago, but
no, you're good.
Alonso, when we won the title with Conte's 5 at the back, when Alonso played left wing back, he was amazing. He was so good there. So
he was.
Maybe Tuchel's seen that as well and thought that's if I ever play 5 at the back, he's the main man. So.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason. I don't actually think this. I think he thinks there's actually too much. There's not too much there in between them. But I think he looks at it, and I'm sure he studied Alonso in that season with Conte playing as that left wing back role, and I'm sure he wants that exact thing from Alonso. He was class at it. Him and Victor Moses at the time were causing teams all sorts of problems. and he was one of Chelsea's best players that season. I think he just looks at it and goes, "Look, if I was playing a back four, I'd maybe go with Chilwell, but because I'm playing with my formation, I just think he's like Alonso's got experience with it, and I'm going with that."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing as well, not to go too off topic of the new signings, but you look at when Conte came in and he converted Victor Moses to like a right wing back, and then it kind of seemed, maybe not so much now, but it definitely seemed at the start when Tuchel first came in, of like converting Hudson-Odoi to more of like a right wing back, and actually done very well there too. But I think it seems like with Hudson-Odoi, he's going to go more like right wing back or right wing who can, he sees him as someone can play both, which is good, because for some reason Hudson-Odoi just didn't really kick off for Lampard. I thought Lampard would really get the best of Hudson-Odoi and play him a lot, but it seems like Tuchel could be the guy to do that.
Go on, Matthew.
Do you think, Liam, you need to buy like let's say if you want to push for the title next season, I know I might get a little carried away here, but do you think you need to get like a proper striker, like a set number 9 to be able to go and challenge for it?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know if we can maybe just go into Werner's one of the next signings, Josh. But
yeah, I mean, go for it. Move on.
Yeah, so with Werner, like, he is good up top. Like, he's good to have up there, because like pressing wise off the ball, he's brilliant, and he'll make really good runs in behind and stuff. But like when Tuchel plays the two wingers, like they almost play like in really, really close to the striker's number, almost like number 10s, and that's where I think Werner's best. He's best playing off the big strikers like a Giroud, for example. Like he done at Leipzig, he never played up front by himself. He wasn't the only number 9. He played off Poulsen, who was like a big target man, similar to Giroud, and that's why he was so good, like feeding off scraps, and he could get in behind and stuff because he had that striker to partner him. So I do think we would need like a proper number 9. I mean, it would be interesting with Abraham getting like fully fit and stuff. Will Tuchel kind of rely on him a bit more, and or will he rely on Giroud to still, when he comes on, just he always seems to score. But yeah, to answer your question, I think we probably would need a proper number 9.
I think so. I actually think, by the way, City, United, Liverpool, Chelsea all need number 9s. I think all of them do.
I
think all 100%. Of them need
100%.
someone that's like a central position guy that maybe can somewhat adapt and switch between the right and the left, because that's what everyone kind of does now. But I think all of those clubs need a 9.
I think that position's been killed though, just for the fact that now everyone plays with inverted wingers. I think that affects that position massively.
Well, there's two out there, is Harry Kane and Haaland.
Yeah.
There are 2 players that will play down the middle and can probably somewhat. I mean, I'm not saying Kane's going to be drifting out wide, but you've seen what Mourinho's done with him. He can drop deep a little bit and all that. And Haaland, I think, I'm not saying he drifts wide in terms of playing like, the wingers that you have, but he can go wide. He's fucking rapid and strong. Like he could do that for 5 minutes.
He definitely is more of a kind of in the box type striker. But you see, he's he's quick for a big guy. He's quick as well. So you're right.
Oh yeah,
he could definitely do that job. But it's an interesting one with like the number 9s, because teams are probably, and coaches are seeing that, like how successful Liverpool were last season with having Firmino, who, albeit it's a great striker, he's not a proper goal scorer, but because that's Salah and Mane, then better wingers that Mathew were talking about, who are like who were the proper goal scorers. So that's where I think it would work, having like you've got a target man, you hopefully have a Werner, and then someone on the other side who can chime in on goals. But for me, like Werner's, he's very, very good. I mean, he contributes a lot in terms of assists. That's why I think he's be more involved as like a winger. But yeah, I think we would need a proper striker. I would take Haaland in a heartbeat. I would take him in a heartbeat.
Do you think you have? I mean, obviously, where you finish is going to play a big part in it. And by the way, what I'm going to ask you, I think you do. But do you think you have a chance of like being able to convince Haaland to come?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I do. I personally do. Like, I think with Tuchel, if you finish in the Champions League spots, you have just as much of a chance to get him as Man United does, Liverpool does, City does.
Yeah, Chelsea will go and get him, and I think with Haaland as well. Like, I mean, it will be expensive, but I don't think it won't be like ridiculously expensive. He's not going to be like a Mbappe, PSG probably want like 200 million for, right? And
yeah,
I don't know if Haaland's got a release clause. I'm not too sure if he does, but you know, it's like usually in the Bundesliga with German teams. I mean, usually players can be a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
I know maybe it's different with Sancho, that I think they wanting 100 million stuff, but when United were after him. But yeah, like as I said, I would take Haaland in a heartbeat. I think we could afford him. And again, yeah, if we get far in the Champions League and we end up maybe finishing like second or third, then I could see Abramovich being like, yeah, go get him.
Yeah, no, because like I said, I think you can. Like, I think you're in the ballpark. You can offer him money, you can offer him that, but also it looks quite exciting in Chelsea right now. So you could definitely go there and be decent. To kind of do the second last couple of players I want to do on Chelsea, because I'm obviously trying to I'm conscious of the time for the Jambo. So I'll ask you this, Jambo. We'll combine these two players in to kind of move off them quickly. Havertz and Ziyech. What have you thought of them? And you can be honest, mate. You can be honest. If you think they've been a flop, say they've been a flop.
I wouldn't say.
Motherfuckers!
Motherfucking flops. But what I would say is that
You're a good flop.
how much does Havertz like fluster in Germany? He did really well in Germany, right?
Yeah.
And I think like when players, I mean, we always text each other. I know I chat some absolute shit on that group
Fucking
chat.
Right, you do.
A lot of the time I am joking, but I wouldn't say Havertz has been a flop. I would just say like any other player, it sometimes takes longer to get into it, coming into a different country, especially into the Premier League. Everyone's fucking massive in the Premier League, mate. Like Werner said it himself. Like the bigger, stronger, it's just harder. And then
Havertz surprised me. He's a big cunt, man.
And then you have COVID as well.
Like myself.
Add to the fuel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, Jambo. I agree. No, Jambo, I think you're right, man. I think that. I mean, personally, how he did in the Bundesliga, I don't know what you think, Mathew. Again, Liam, you've seen him actually play more than I have. I'm more so speaking of like highlights and stats I've seen, right? So I've not seen him play, but I definitely expected a bit more. I'm expecting a bit more of him probably under a better coach. So I'll give him maybe next season to see how he does. But yeah, he didn't flourish on the Lampard at all. Like, absolutely not at all. Not at all.
I mean, when I watched him play on TV, like I wasn't looking at him thinking like, fucking hell, this guy's going to be good either.
Yeah.
What is he? What is it?
Exactly. That's another point as well. Like, where is he going to play? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you usually for Leverkusen, he was like it was a number 10, and I think sometimes he even played as like a false 9 towards the end, which was interesting. And it's because I didn't.
Nope.
No.
It's all right. It's frozen. We've lost the German correspondent's frozen a little bit here.
Robbie's got Kunzel Wi-Fi. Pass it on.
Robbie's got Kunzel Wi-Fi. Pass it on. We'll
just edit out, Josh. Just edit out. You can.
No, that's good. We'll keep going. We'll get him back in. Because I asked you, what do you think of Ziyech? How has he been for you guys? Because I mean, I have my own thoughts on it.
Who,
too.
me? You asking me?
Yeah, both of you. You or Mathew.
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't really played that much, has he?
Played a wee bit.
No, a wee bit. He hasn't played a lot though.
A little bit. Like I think it seems like they're doing the same with him as they're doing with, like as Man City are doing with what's that winger, the Torres.
Yeah, Ivan Torres. Yeah.
Like he kind of played. No, Ivan Torres.
The kid we coached.
Ferran Torres.
Ferran Torres. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think he's played a few games, and when he's played, he's looked pretty decent. But then I think, they then not playing for a few weeks, and it kind of looks like they're trying to do the same thing a little bit, or that seems a similar occurrence, I think.
Yeah.
See with Ziyech, Nate, Josh, you're gonna laugh at this. Do you know what I'm gonna say?
No, but go on.
All right, mate. So see with Ziyech, right? Josh talks about him all the time.
Yeah.
And we'll always watch the games together, and he's like, "Look at him. He's just fucking walking about the place. He's not working hard at that." If Josh's thoughts on him are, because he doesn't give a fuck and he just walks about the place, but he got a wand of a left foot, he's like, nah, he's not good enough. But I fucking rate him, man. I think he's such a handful if you can try to get the best out of him.
He's back.
Well,
hey. Nah, it's all good, mate. We're just we're talking about Ziyech. Mathew was just saying.
I was just saying that McRobbie's got Kunso Wi-Fi. Pass it on.
Wi-Fi's
I was saying. So we're talking about Ziyech, Leon, right? And mate, every time we watch the Chelsea games, Josh is fucking fuming. He's like, "Look at Ziyech, mate. He's just fucking walking about the place tonight." He's like, "Look at him. He's not even sprinting." And I'm like, I just find it funny because I just think he's got a wand of a left. I think he's class. I think you just have to deal with that and try to get the best out of him. But
right. Okay. Sorry. Can I like back my point up? Why I say that?
Yeah. Go on.
Right. What is he offering? What like if Neymar, right? For example, let's just use this is what everyone would say about Neymar. I think, right? And again, I don't watch him, so I don't know. But from what I've seen of him in Champions League games, Liverpool played them a few times of the year. And it's fine. Doesn't really want to do a lot off the ball. Like, he's not going to come all the way back and track back and sit as like a group. He doesn't want to do that, which is fine. Not everyone has to or wants to do that. But he gives you all the other stuff at the other end. He's going to score the goal. He's going to give you the assist. He's going to create a moment that is going to do something for the team, or certainly can do, and has proven that he can do.
So then surely...
So far, Ziyech isn't, and I'm not saying he won't, but so far this season, again, like James, you rightly pointed out, he's not really played a lot, and he's not had a run. So I'm fine with, again, same next season under a good coach under Tuchel. Let's see, but he's not. In my head, he's not giving enough at the other end of the pitch to justify it.
Reminds me of Martial a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like Martial. Yeah, I agree. Don't know what you think about that, Liam.
I'd say Ziyech definitely looks more interested in Martial, man. Martial just emotional, isn't he? It's so weird, man.
I'm sure we'll get into that, but
yeah. Nah, I mean, yeah, he's not a good run of games and stuff. I mean, he did score against Atletico, a really good counter attack for Havertz and Werner, all the three signings combined, which was nice. The three flops, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Nah, I think Ziyech will come good. I don't think he's one to worry about. Chelsea fans can see that
I think when you've got a left foot as good as him, you can do whatever the fuck you want, man.
Yeah.
He does have a wonderful left.
A fucking wonderful left. Have you seen him switch it? I fucking love when he switches
that video, the switch was Ajax against Bayern Munich, I think.
Yeah.
That switch that he does, that camera angle, so wow, man. Frightening.
Josh, I just don't think you're ever going to get out of Ziyech. Like, I think it's really difficult.
I agree. I don't think you are either.
But you're saying that he needs to produce at the other end to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he needs a little bit of time to prove that. But from what I've seen, I think he's actually been up there with like creating and assisting that.
Maybe he has. I mean, I probably really should have got stats up before I abused him there, but I feel like it's not good.
It's just like an open convo about it. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think he's definitely got something huge to offer though. If you can get a little rhythm in that Chelsea team and you play free-flowing attacking football and that, I mean, I think he could come really, really good.
No,
I mean, he has been hot and cold. I mean, I think it'll be more towards the end of the season. We'll look back and see out the signs who really has performed and kicked on under Tuchel. Still obviously try to find his best team and stuff as well.
Just on the final thing on that, though, I think like being a Chelsea striker or forward player right now is really difficult because he's chopping and changing it so much.
Yeah,
and you know what it's like. You need more than like a game or two to like get your rhythm and get going in that. And I think he's still trying to work out what that kind of whatever it is, front 4 or 5, whatever you want to call it is. But it'll be interesting to see who he actually maybe decides to give that run of games to.
To finish off on Chelsea, I'll ask you a very simple question, and then we'll move on to the mighty Man United. Like I said, Tuchel's had 10 games. He's won 6 of them, and this is in the league. Won 6, drawn 4. He's not lost yet. You've scored 11, conceded 2. You're currently in the quarterfinal in the Champions League against Porto, which, no disrespect to Porto, definitely able to get through. And then you play Liverpool or Madrid, who I think you could beat as well. So he's in a good spot. He's probably going to get, for honest, as every other Chelsea manager gets, 2 years tops to do something. Yes or no? Does he win a title for Chelsea in those 2 years? Let's say he gets 2. So let's call it next season and the season after. Yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
He's competing against some fucking right old teams, like.
Yeah.
James saying no?
I say next season, no. Season after, yes.
Mathew?
I think to get close to City, you need another extra year, man.
Yeah, City are just different.
I don't know. Can I say maybe?
Cop out. You have to say yes or no. Do you think he will or he won't?
I'm gonna go yeah.
Oh yeah, fair.
I've made some rash calls on this podcast, like saying fucking Burnley are gonna go down in that, so fuck it, mate.
I'm gonna go. If you put a gun to my head, I'm gonna say no, but it's also wouldn't wouldn't surprise me if you did, right? Like it's definitely possible.
Does Ziyech play in that? Does he play in your team?
If he starts getting assists or goals, then yeah, it's fine. He can do what he wants. Right, we'll move on to United. Let's do a good 10, 15 on this bet, and then we can just do a small piece on Liverpool. So the Jambo, Ollie's at the wheel. You're currently second, maybe third, since last time I went to the table, but you're up there. You're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League against Granada. Probably the favourites to win that, let's be honest.
What competition you say? Europa League?
Yeah. Yeah. No, so someone on Thursdays on Channel 5 or something that they play in. So, something like that. So, I mean, yes, City are obviously incredible. It is very, very difficult to get close to them. You've got closer to them than you were last season and probably for the last about 3 years since Mourinho was there or whatever. So, go on then. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what's your thoughts?
Well, to start off, I want to make it very clear that I think Solskjaer will be successful at Man United. Like, I actually believe
Here
in
we
it.
go.
Like,
yes, that's what I wanted to hear.
No. I don't want him to.
Now let him speak.
Okay.
You got to think about it. Look. I'll give you the best example I can possibly think of. Right. Look at Luke Shaw, for an example. Look at how much of a difference Ole Solskjaer has made out of Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw's come out and said Ole Solskjaer's the best manager he's ever had. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if you go around the whole team and you look at the team we had 2 years ago, right, to now, in terms of happiness as one, they're all it's very clear that they're way more happier under Solskjaer than they were Mourinho or anyone else, I think. And if you go around most of the, I don't know how to say it, the best players that we have, like who's meant to be the best players we have, like Maguire and.
Are you fucking proud of them, like?
Are you speaking
for them?
I think if you look at Maguire, I think this year he's done so much better, and I know he gets a lot of stick, but I think it's very harsh that he's getting as much abuse as of what he's getting, in my opinion. I'm not his biggest fan either. Mm. And I think my personal view is what Ole Solskjaer is doing at Man United. I think he's doing a good job for now. Obviously, there's more to do, right? You want to compete with City and stuff like that. But I think so far, so good for me.
Right, okay. I actually think he gets quite harshly treated sometimes by pretty much everyone, and certainly Liverpool fans. I think he does get harshly treated. I think that has he done a really good job since he's taken over? He's been there for wrote this down earlier. He's been there for 2.5. Yeah, he's been there for two years and 3 months, to give you the exact date, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's done a good job. I think he stabilized the club. I think you aren't as erratic as you were before with every single transfer window, and I think that's partly to do with him. So I think he deserves more credit than he gets. Mathew and Liam, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add, but
just on that point, I think he has as well. I think he's hit this. I think he's hit this point where everyone's like, can he take them to that next level? I think that's the question now with Ole is is he capable of now going that step further? He's taken them to where they are. Is it him that takes them further? Is it then maybe Ole's got them to that stage and now it's maybe someone else that's able and experienced enough to get them to the next level? I have no idea, but to be totally honest and go ahead, Jumbo.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's what's going to tell the tale, right? Is whether or not he's going to be able to get over that little bump. He's got the club to wherever they are right now, but can he get them competing with City, or do you need that experienced manager to come in? And I think maybe he's taken the United job a bit too early. I think there's a lot of similarities with Lampard in terms of experience, right? Like, basically.
Yeah,
I think
there is.
It's unexperienced, and I think if you're going to compete with City, then sure, there's an argument that you need an experienced coach to probably get you there quicker. But I think over time, Solskjaer will get there, I think, because if you look at, I mean, let's take Klopp, for example, right? How long did it take Klopp to get Liverpool to where they are now?
Yeah,
how many years did it take?
4 or 5 years, really, 4.5.
Exactly, and then if you look at Klopp, I'm just using Klopp as an example,
yeah.
And also because I fucking hate Liverpool. But if you look at how many finals Klopp got into and lost before he won a final, how many years was that? So I feel like if people were saying, "Oh, Ollie's got to the whatever stage of the FA Cup and got knocked out, and he's been knocked out of this," it's like, look around, look at what Klopp did. It took him years to get there, right? You've got to give him that time and let him really put his print on Man United, I think.
Yeah.
So, go on, Matthew.
I think the only thing with that, Jambo, is like if you look at Klopp, and he was obviously like proven before, like what he done at Mainz and then obviously what he done at Dortmund. I think the only difference with that would say that is the difference is that Klopp had the experience of going to that next level and winning titles at Dortmund, Champions League finals and stuff. But the only thing for me with Man United right now is like, so let's say the top like 6, let's say everyone's fit, all their squads are fit, and let's say every team in the top 6 kind of like hit a bit of form, let's say. So let's say if you take City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Leicester, where do you think like Man U sit? Let's say that all the squads are fit, all those teams are hitting form and they're playing well. Where do you think like Man U fit in that? Because I just feel like right now, and this isn't to take anything away from Man U or anything away from Ollie, and I know they're sitting second at the moment, but like I kind of feel like obviously all the shit that's happened at Liverpool, all the shit that happened at Chelsea with Lampard, Tottenham totally going stale, with Mourinho, like they just completely went out of form and shit just kind of hit the fan and kind of at all those clubs. I wonder just where do you think Man U fit? Like let's say all those clubs are fit and firing. Where do you think Man U fit in that?
I still think we would. I don't think if you take every single, like you said, like right now, obviously it's clear that Man United are nowhere near competing for the Premier League title, but I definitely believe that there would still be top 4 for sure.
What
opinion.
What does that say about the league then? So basically, in a whole, I mean, like that's my concern because, in my opinion, right, Ollie, I agree with what you guys said. He's at the point now where it's like, right, you've had the time, you've stabled it, you've done a great job. Can you go to the next level? And that also, by the way, I'm not saying that's next season win the title. I'm saying like, do you start to get rid of some players that are clearly, well, not clearly, but do you start to get rid of players that maybe you're not too sure on, right? And then how does he recruit and who can he get in? And I just think that as a coach, this is my honest opinion, apart from Tuchel and Klopp, coach-wise, I don't know who competes with Pep.
Well, Solskjaer's is the only manager who's beaten him twice at the Etihad, right?
No, fair, which shows there that there is like clearly he has a little something, and I agree. But if we're saying can he take it to the next step, the answer is obviously we don't know. I don't think he can, and my concern is like who else competes with Pep if it's not Klopp or Tuchel? Like I don't know who else in the league can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the more experience. Sorry, Jambo. Look, the more experience Solskjaer gets, the better he'll get as a coach as well. And obviously, give him another summer break, he can get his own players in and get rid of some of the deadwood as well. It'll be surely you'd think United would only get stronger next year as well. So,
let's ask the question that everyone keeps saying: are you a wank team without Bruno? Or are you literally like 5th and 6th without Bruno Fernandes? I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he is the only reason you're good, but I'm saying he takes you to another level, which every team has. But if you take him out of that, let's just say he doesn't play next season. do you get top 4?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because if you take, I mean, I'm going off of social media and everyone giving Man United a hard time and ripping into Man United players. They've all said that Bruno is bad against top 6 teams.
Yeah.
Right. So if you take that into the consideration, and we're currently second. So if he's that bad, if he's not great against top 6 teams, then we'll be fine then. In my opinion. But he is, though. He makes a difference. Obviously, if he went missing, then we would be, I think, in trouble. But at the same time, if we still have Pogba, and then we got, Van der Beek coming in, if he's ready to play, for whatever reason he's not playing right now, maybe it's because he can't get into the team. But I think we've got players that can definitely do a job, and I think we would be fine.
Do you think that like what do you think? Like, do you think your squad is unbalanced? I'm not quite too sure what I mean by that, but I get the feeling that I think that De Gea, all right, is clearly dipped off a little bit. Henderson, I think, give him a go. I think he could be decent. In my opinion, I actually think that you should go out and sign Martinez from Villa, because I think he's absolutely incredible. I don't think he makes any mistakes, and I think someone should buy him. But you've got Henderson, that's fine. I don't mind Wan-Bissaka if you want to play a certain way. He's a good right back. I agree with you. I think Maguire gets maybe overly harshly treated. He's not as bad as everyone makes him out to be, but he definitely has weaknesses in his game. Maybe he needs a partner in there, right? Luke Shaw, great left back, probably deserves to start for England in the Euros after the season he's had. Then I think when you hit the middle, that's when it's not Bruno and Pogba, Van de Beek's not played a lot. Like, I just think that you need to progress on from like Fred and McTominay. And
100%.
And then again, you need a 9, like we've said, which a lot of teams do. And I'll be honest with you, I think that you cut your losses with Martial, because I think he's been given enough time. I know he's still young as fuck, so he could be decent, but I don't know. I don't think he's good enough. And
I agree.
And last person I'll finish on is, I think Rashford is a fantastic footballer, has loads of potential, not trying to say shit at all. Everything he has been doing off the pitch is great. I don't know. Does he take you to a level of winning a league title? I'm not sure.
I think, going off of what you said about all the individual players, and I'll bring in the manager to the point I'm going to make, and it ties in with like the experience and stuff, and whether or not you should fire him and bring someone else in. All those players that you've named, right, like who aren't really good enough. Like, clearly Fred isn't a Man United player and isn't going to win Man United the Champions League playing holding midfield on his own, right? Martial is fucking pish. He's piss. He's awful, right? He's so bad. I think that if Ole Solskjaer then decides to stick with these types of players, then he has to coach them to becoming a Man United player and make a difference to win a Premier League. And if he sticks with these players and he can't do that, that's when I would say, all right, it's done. Ole's out then, right? If he's not a good enough coach, if he wants to keep these players and he's trying to coach them and make them into something special, and he can't do that, then that's on him, right? Otherwise, he has to buy very, very well in the summer and sell the players that clearly aren't good enough. Like Lindelof, he's just not good enough. He's not going to win us titles. I just don't see it.
Do you, Mathew and Liam, before we can finish off United, do you think that they actually have a bit more work to do? Like James has named quite a few players there, right? So do you think they have more work to do than people maybe almost say, like, oh, they just need a right winger and a centre back? Like, I think they need more work.
It's a tough one. It's like yes and no. I mean, Josh, you hit the nail on the head in terms of like saying Solskjaer like stabilised them, which I think they definitely have. He definitely has. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, like, just it's inconsistencies, right? Of like your Martials and like your Freds and stuff, and if you've got inconsistent players, you're not going to be a consistent team who's going to like be challenging for the Premier League and Europe and stuff. But well, one thing I want to ask Jambo is, like, so take into consideration also Lingard, who was completely out of the team. He's went to West Ham. He's doing very, very well. Would you take Lingard or Martial if you had to choose one of the two?
Right now, Lingard for sure. I mean, that's just because like every time I watch Martial, he actually makes me angry.
Is Lingard on loan?
Sorry, but it's really, really annoying because when Martial first came to Man United, he really, the way he like kind of strolled around and like he was picking up goals, he really, really, really reminded me of Berbatov just a little bit.
Okay.
The way just his mannerisms.
Okay,
not
right.
The way,
yeah.
I'm not talking about the player.
No,
the
I
way
you
he
mean
plays
though.
or anything.
Yeah.
Like his first touch, his mannerisms, the way he strolls around, not looking bothered, but still picked up quite a few goals. And Berbatov is and will always probably be my favourite striker at Man United. I just loved him. So I was really excited to see Martial kind of grow and like get into the team and potentially, you know, be one of the best in the world. Because do you not have something in his contract that if he won the Ballon d'Or, they have to give
you paid
Monaco something, right? X amount of money, and like that goes to show that they thought he was going to be something special too.
Yeah,
that cunt's getting nowhere near the Ballon d'Or. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. So this is like, I mean,
I'll get
you could probably still get 30 or 40 mil for him, right?
And I'm in a sling.
Yeah.
But James, I genuinely think you could get more than that for him. Like I think maybe we're all just I mean we're all sat in our rooms just chatting about football. So who are we to talk? But I genuinely think you could get 60 million for him. I think someone would pay that. I think he's I think he's overrated. I think so many people think he's so much better than he is.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things with Martial, I think, like at the time, and a lot of people thought it was a blessing, but it's probably a curse as well. As like on his debut years ago, he scored against Liverpool that goal right against showed in all the commercials and Sky Sports. There was like such high hopes. You know what I mean? So I think that almost like killed him in a way in terms of the expectation went from there to there straight away. Like fucking hell, what a talent this guy could become a club legend. You know what I mean? It's going to get Liverpool. Of course. You got to look at all the other managers that have managed Man United. I'm pretty sure at least two of them have tried to get rid of Martial.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where
a lot of rumors about that.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
But it was like the board or something, from what I've read, whether it's true or not, the board were the ones who want to keep him. So I think that says, if that's true, that says a lot.
I've heard that.
Those experienced managers, those really experienced managers are saying, I don't want him. I think that tells something.
I always remember, I forget how many years ago it was now, but it was when Mourinho was in charge, and Man United come over to, they always come over to America, and they played against the Earthquakes. It was a Levi Stadium, and I mean, albeit for Man United players, it's a friendly against San Jose Earthquakes. You're not going to be that arse. But I still remember, I've never ever watched a live game and seen a player so uninterested. And Martial, I'm pretty sure he got the ball, he dribbled out to play. He generally dribbled out for a throw in, and a player would maybe look embarrassed or like be raging or playing something else. He literally, it looked as if he just did not care at all. He just done that. Like I've never seen anyone so uninterested in my life.
That sounds like how he looks like he acts, like on the pitch when I see him on TV. I believe that 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure if he spoke to his teammates, they're probably like, he's just like that. It's just his personality, you know what I mean? He's just obviously very like, emotionless, and it's just how he is and stuff. And obviously, he's a great talent as well. But yeah,
and that's fine though. If he's like that, that's fine. But you've got to score goals or do something.
You can act however you want to act if you score goals. That's your job.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Sorry, if you're like fucking Lewandowski, you can walk around as not giving a fuck.
Yeah, 100%.
Smashing in goals all the time. Who cares?
Do you go on, Mathew? On that point of like talking about Martial and that, it's like, so you've got two strikers in Martial and Cavani, and it's like one of them we've just sitting fucking roasted for about 10 minutes saying how shite he is, and the other one basically leaving. Like, it's similar to Chelsea, James. You think that Man U going that next level, they need to bring someone in to, be their striker?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought Man United have probably tried to put all their eggs in the Cavani basket, but it hasn't really worked out because he's not playing for whatever reason. And when he came, I honestly thought this is going to be like another Van Persie situation where give him the ball and he'll score and he'll probably get us up there with City maybe. And maybe not win the Premier League, but definitely challenge City a little bit more. And
Which he has.
Gap.
Which he has.
When he's played, I mean, look at him against Southampton, right? I mean, what an impact he's been. when he's played, but for whatever reason he's not playing. Whatever, like if there's injuries or whatever, it's just I don't know. I feel a little bit not annoyed, just disappointed that he hasn't played as much. And there's rumors that his dad's come out and say he doesn't want to be at Man United anymore, or whatever. And it's just like, Matt, like for fuck's sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we got him. I think we got him a few years too late, because I saw a stat somewhere that the time that he didn't have a club or something, his injuries were like within 2 years, like 13 injuries, or around that number. I think like it's just too late now.
Yeah,
for him.
It's definitely like you said, the way you compared it there to Van Persie is so true. It's like a quick year to fix, which is fine because to be honest with you, who were you going to get at the time? I mean, I don't think there was anyone. I actually thought it was quite a smart bit of business from you.
Yeah, so did I.
So I agree, but to finish on United, so because I want to let you ask us at least a couple of questions on Liverpool, and we can keep it short. But to finish on Man United, same as Chelsea. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I don't care. We can say he gets 10 years, right? Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer win the league at Manchester United? Yes or no?
I'll start. I think so. If you're giving him more than 2 years, I think so.
Okay.
I think it's going to take more than 2 years, though. I don't think it's going to be within 2 years. I think it's going to be.
Are you happy? Sorry, before Mathew and Liam answer, are you okay with that, James, as a fan, to maybe take that a little bit extra time to see if he can do it?
Yeah, I actually am. But just because it's a club legend, though, it has that club legend feeling. You know what I mean? I think if it's anyone else, maybe I wouldn't. The patience would go a lot sooner. But I would definitely. It doesn't matter who would be in right now. If it wasn't Solskjaer or if it was anyone else, I would still be like, give him time. Because if you look at every other manager, it's always taken them a few years. And I go back to Klopp again, right? With Liverpool, it took him, how long was it? 5-6 years or whatever it was to get to where he is now. So just give him that chance, mate. He's done well so far. He's progressed so far. So who's saying that he's not going to progress in the next 3 or 4 years still?
Agree.
He deserves a chance. Mathew and Liam, yes or no?
I don't think so, but what I will say is I do like that Man United have given him time, and like they're almost like taking like baby steps in terms of like progressing. But I do like that they're giving him time, and they probably will give him that time, I think, to try and win the league within maybe the next like 2, 3, 4 years. But yeah, I just with Chelsea improving, and Man City just looking relentless. Liverpool will get better when they get their injuries back and their injured players back. So I can't see it. But yeah, you know.
Mathew?
Just real quick before I answer, I know we asked Liam the question about Haaland and Chelsea. Jambo, do you think that Man U and Ole could attract and bring in someone like Haaland?
Or Harry Kane.
Or Kane.
I think he has to finish second and win the Europa League to attract someone like that this year. That's what I think.
Fair.
Haaland, if you're talking Haaland specifically, although they have a relationship, I don't think he comes because of the whole Roy Keane and his dad thing. Anyway,
forgot about that.
I would be sure if that happened to my dad, I would fucking hate Man United.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true, eh? That's very true.
So if you're talking about Haaland specifically, I don't think it will happen. But if you want a striker like him, then yeah, we've got to win the Europa League and finish second, in my opinion.
Mathew, give a quick yes or no, because I want to allow James and Liam one question each minimum on Liverpool.
Nah, I'm going no.
Fair. I'm also going.
I can't wait for him to win the Premier League now.
I'm going no, and I'm praying to God it doesn't happen. Right, James, Liam, we got absolute maximum 5 minutes, so I'll allow you guys to ask if you have one or you want to any question about Liverpool and how the season's gone for me and Mathew to answer, because we haven't really talked about it yet.
Well, I suppose mine's a two-parter. One, got to ask where did it all go wrong.
It was injuries.
And I mean, I've not really watched Liverpool much recently. The two new signings, Ben Davies and the boy from Schalke, how have they been?
Well, Mathew?
So I think, so starting on Davies, me and Josh always speak about this, really shocked to the way that Klopp spoke about him in his press conferences. It was very much so like he's really off the pace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing that...
Sorry to cut you off, Mathew, but it's a massive jump from pressing the Championship to the Premier League. Huge step.
And it's amazing that Kabak is only, what is he, 20?
Yeah.
20 years old? Mate, he's 20 years old. He's young for a centre-half, isn't it? But just for the difference in quality and training, I was saying to Josh, I was like, when you're Klopp and you see a 20-year-old Kabak and Davies like 23, 24, something like that, it just... And the fact that he's just totally gone with Kabak instead, to me, it's quite mental. That it'd be really interesting to see what that gap is actually like. But the Davies one's an interesting one because I'm not too sure. He's not played yet, so I've got no idea. But by the sounds of it from the press conferences, Klopp was saying that he did sound quite off the pace and he just needs time to settle in, which Klopp normally does with players anyway. I'm sure he would have done the same with Kabak, but it's a situation where you know what it's like at centre-back. We need to chuck someone in. But the games I've watched, he's definitely grown into himself. He's definitely gained a little bit of confidence. His pace does concern me a little bit. Like, when I watch him, he does look really slow and like he can't run properly. But apart from that, I think he's really growing. I think it helps when you have another centre-back that you actually start to play with consistently.
Nat Phillips, legend.
What's that?
Nat Phillips is a legend.
Yeah. So just, I think this Kabak now is starting to grow in confidence, and if the team starts growing in confidence, he will as well, which I think is a really good thing for him as well. He's been chucked in the deep end. Let's be honest, like 20 years old, chucked into a Liverpool team where the expectations are so high. You're literally getting compared to Virgil van Dijk. And the fucking ship is sinking, and you're just basically chucked in at centre-back, and you're like, all right, go and play in the Premier League at 20 years old. Like, it's pretty mental, but I think overall he's starting to grow in confidence.
To answer your question, Liam, everything Mathew said, I'm in the same opinion of. To be honest with you, I think that Klopp and Liverpool felt the pressure for the first time in 2 years from the fan base to do something, and I think they felt like if they didn't do something, they would lose not support, but it was at the point not from my point of view. I don't know about Matthew's, but again, if you go off the basis of social media and how everyone's talking, it was at the point where if they didn't and we continued to slide down the table, he would have been in trouble. And I think they felt the pressure, and then B. But fucking I've lost myself here. And two, panicking like fucking Jurgen Klopp. Two, I think that they also didn't have a choice. I think they needed bodies. I think they had to work out a way how to get Fabinho or Henderson playing in the middle. Obviously, Henderson then got hurt. I think they had to figure out a way. I don't think they could continue with it, and they've just had to do what they had to do. But everything Mathew said spot on about Kabak and Davies. Jambo, we are extremely tight for time here. You've got one fucking question. Make it a good one.
Well, my one's about Firmino.
Okay.
For me, he's in a bit of a goal drought, right?
Yeah.
How he has been. Just want to get your thoughts really on him and how much time you would give him. Seeing how long has he been at Liverpool for now?
A while. He's been there since Rodgers has been there.
For a while. So yeah. I would assume you'd give him a little bit more time before you kind of start turning on him, and if he doesn't, what's he doing wrong?
Go on, Mathew.
Yeah. So, you said Firmino, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, even ask Josh. I'm his biggest fan, man. I could watch him play football for days. I think he's so good. I've never seen someone play in that role and play with their back to... I used to hate playing with my back to goal. I hated it. I was so shit at it. But just the way that he plays with his back to goal, I think there's not many better strikers out there actually playing with his back to goal. But I just think that, and this just happens at football clubs, especially when you're successful. You just need to keep evolving. And I think Firmino in that role and possibly getting rid is one of the many big reasons that we need to evolve. And I think we will. And I just think we do need to bring someone in that will be a goal scorer and evolve that way. And I think it sounds harsh, right? Because he's done so well and stuff. But I just think that's the area mainly that we need to evolve and slightly adapt. Because I think as you know, we won the title, Champions League and all that, you need to keep evolving and adapting. I think what we've seen, what's happened to us, that we haven't evolved and adapt. And we've just kind of ran out of that energy. And I think just bringing fresh legs in there will totally switch it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think sorry to chime in quickly. I know you guys are the experts, but I think there's two things. Like, one thing is, as you said, he doesn't have anyone else to really challenge him for that position. So he's maybe a bit comfortable. If he doesn't score week in, week out, then I know he's still playing next week. You know what I mean? And the second thing as well is, I mean, Salah's still scoring, but Mane's not. I don't know what Mane seems to have went a bit off the ball, a bit off form. So like before, like his lack of goals was justified because he was doing so many other things, and Salah and Mane were both chipping in with goals anyway. So you guys were still scoring, whereas Salah still is, but Mane's not. So I think that's reflecting a bit on now. Maybe fans and pundits whatever are like, well, Mane's not scoring, so Firmino, you need to step up now because we can't just rely on Salah.
Yeah,
100%.
I think just to finish off very quickly, so Jamo can get away. I think that what Mathew said about evolving is probably right. I'm not saying that we should sell him. I still think you could keep him and potentially even give him some sort of other role somewhere in the team. But it's quite clear when you play Jota and then you have three very direct forwards running him behind or trying to get him behind teams because they're sitting so deep against us now. It's a different mentality. That three looks like it is more the future than it was the other three, if that makes sense. That to me, it's like, oh, this feels like it suits us better with how teams are playing against us now compared to what it was a year ago, 2 years ago. And I think that, unfortunately, it looks like Firmino might be the one that gets the kind of chop out the three. But James, to answer your question, love him to death. Think we need to evolve, and he may be someone that gets less time or maybe gets moved on to evolve. He might be one of those players. Yeah, unfortunately. Right. Well, the Jambo does have to go. So we've had a few technical difficulties and a couple of reschedules. So not been perfect, but we'll do another one, lads, where we can just sit and do a proper talk. We'll get one when the season's over and the Euros are on, and we can we've got no time limit, and we'll hopefully it'll all be good and we'll get a proper chat.
Scotland v England review for the Euros.
There you go, mate. That could be the next time.
I'll be down in London. Fucking pissed, mate. Go to Turtle Army.
It should be funny. We can do a live one whilst England and Scotland play each other.
Good idea, actually. We should. Matthew's down there in England. He's down in England.
I'm down there fucking causing havoc in your country. What are you going to do about it, shite bag?
Live from Trafalgar Square, man.
Right. Liam, if you want to stay on
boys are in town.
If you want to stay on for a couple of minutes, we can have a chat. But Jambo, I know you've got to go. It was class to catch up, boys. It was good to get chat, and like I say, we'll do a proper in-depth one in the summer.
Good boys. Cheers.
Perfect. Cheers, boys.
Yes.